So after the Raiders game, I put out a video that said the Packers were bad. Turns out we might be very bad. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to Packers fan, but it sure does help, does it? I'm your host, Tom. Kill me, Grossi, and yeah, this is horrible. This is going to be a ranting episode because I'm also recording this in between what just happened and Sunday Night Football. I'm going to still try to get a reaction video out, but yeah. The Green Bay Packers have just lost to the Denver Broncos, and in case you don't know, the Denver Broncos are one of the worst teams in the league, and we just lost to them. So what does that make the Packers? Yeah, not so good. And what is there even to say about this game? Because a lot of us can look at Joe Barry, right? And Joe Barry gave a lot of cushion. A lot of those play calls for guys like Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton had a nice day. We got run over at least a little bit. But again, I'm not going to go all in on Joe Barry because his defense held the Broncos to 19 points. The Packers should be able to score more than 19 points. But yet again, over and over again, the Green Bay Packers, they have to be the worst first half team because they just do not show up. Carlson, unfortunately, he missed his first field goal, and that definitely hurt because the Packers lost by 2. But even besides that, the Packers, for whatever reason, just cannot do anything in the first half. They had 100 total yards, and a lot of that came off of one drive in the first half, and that is it. Aaron Jones only getting 11 touches, and even though he had a really, really nice game, bro was barely utilized. And it's this kind of stuff that is so frustrating because this offense is so pedestrian. And listen, there is some definite concerns about Jordan Love. His accuracy is one of them. A second throw in a row to end the game. It's a bad throw. It's a bad interception. I don't even know why you're making that decision there. I understand that it's third and very long, but you have 2 plays to pick it up, and he throws it into double coverage. That is very concerning. But Jordan Love on the day, 21 for 31, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Didn't even get sacked today. So the offensive line, it did its job. And our run game, we had 137 yards of rushing, which was nice. A.J. Dillon was our leading rusher, 15 for 61. Jones carried it 8 times, and Jordan Love carried it for 3 times for 21 yards. You had A.J. Dillon also being our number 1 receiver. 2 receptions for 34 yards. That is horrific on a team with Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, hell, Wicks, who is getting all the separation there. He threw a pass for 14 yards there too. This offense is just so horrifically bad in the first half. And again, the defense, while it wasn't perfect, did more than enough to win that game. Russell Wilson, 20 for 29, 194 yards, 1 touchdown. Pretty pedestrian. Their run game, they had 145 yards on the ground. Javonte Williams had 82 yards. He had himself a pretty nice day. But Cortland Sutton, 6 for 76. And for the most part, the Packers shut down the Broncos in the second half. And that's why it's so frustrating. Because I feel like I have seen the same game over and over and over again. Oh, the Packers suck ass in the first half. Oh, and then they decide to play in the second half, and then they fall short. That has now happened against the Lions. That has happened against the Raiders. And now it has happened against one of the worst teams in the league. It's happened against the Broncos. So do I think there are things that are fixable? 1,000,000%. But all the things that I said about why the Packers are a bad football team right now, you saw it this week. And the most frustrating thing, this is coming off a bye week. A bye. And they're still looking like this in the first half. It's unacceptable. And we can look at Jordan Love and we can blame Jordan Love. And again, there's a lot of criticism to be thrown at Jordan Love, especially that last throw. His accuracy is definitely a problem. And the past few weeks, he has not looked good. You also have to look at Matt LaFleur because Matt LaFleur is not putting them in great positions. I don't know if it's the play calling. I don't know if it's just the thought process to start off really, really slow in the first half. But whatever the hell it is not working. And as I have said over and over again, You can blame Jordan Love, right? Guy has had 7 starts. Okay, now you're supposed to start to see something. He looked good in the beginning of the season, but I put a lot of this on Matt LaFleur because he's just is not calling good games right now. There's guys that are like receivers that are running to the same spot. It just makes no sense. The play calling is really not unique in any way, shape, or form. They pulled out a trick play with Wicks, who wound up completing a pass to Jones. Like, that was pretty cool, and that worked pretty well. But for the most part, it is very uninspiring. And when you have a very young QB who is struggling right now, and make no mistake about it, Jordan Love has been struggling these past few games. It is a terrible combination because every single time that you start the second half, you are playing with a deficit. You are losing. And it was the same thing here. It was only 9-0, and that felt like a much larger score because the Packers just could not move the ball. And listen, I understand. The Broncos, they don't have the worst defense. Yes, they had 70 put on them, but for the most part, like, they're not too bad. They went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. But they are not great. They are not good. They are bad. And now the Packers were unable to do anything against them, especially in that first half. We are really bad. And again, when it comes to expectations, I'm not terribly surprised. I'm more surprised on how bad the coaching has been. And I'm more upset about the fact that that has not changed from week to week. If Jordan Love isn't the guy, guess what? We still have a few more weeks to find out if he is. I know there's already people calling for Sean Clifford. I know there's already people that are saying, hey, he's struggled too much. We already know. In my personal opinion, I think it's way too early to call it, considering he looked so good in the beginning of the year. But yeah, Jordan Love, he's got to play better. Also, the coach, who's been there a lot longer than Jordan Love has, who has called a lot more games than Jordan Love has been in, he needs to do better too. And as I said before this season started, I wanted this year to be all about evaluation and accountability. Is Jordan Love our guy? We still don't have an answer. And right now, it's not looking too good, but I'm not closing the door on that because he could get better. There's a lot of season left. 1. But 2, the other thing that I was hoping for is who is not good for this team. Let's see how Matt LaFleur is without an Aaron Rodgers. And so far, except for the first couple of weeks, he has not been the guy. And Joe Barry, again, not great, and there was definitely some stuff today that was so infuriating, but holding a team to 19 points, you should be able to score more than 19 in the NFL and win a game. So, yeah. Incredibly frustrating, incredibly upsetting. And when the Packers lost to the Raiders, it was kind of like we're not good. Because you get losing to the Lions, right? But now you lose to the Broncos after a bye week. You look that unprepared. You look that sloppy. And once again, the same issues that we have seen for the past month are still happening. That is a problem. And that is more damning than anything, that we are not even attempting to do something different. And if we are, it sure as hell ain't working. So if you put Sean Clifford in there, is that going to change everything? No, it is not. Let's just be very honest. It's not. And it's also just doing a disservice to the entire season. Because again, you need to figure out if Jordan Love is the guy. I still think they need to play him as probably the rest of the season to figure out if he is that guy. But boy, oh boy, that seat under Matt LaFleur should start to be getting a little bit warm here. And I know that might seem to be jumping the gun a little bit, but that has been the most frustrating thing for me because I imagined that this offense was going to struggle. I didn't realize how much the coaching was going to struggle, how much the play calling was going to be bad. And that is my biggest worry going forward. And so at the end of the day, what I'm concerned about is a lack of accountability because Joe Barry probably shouldn't even be here this season. But now we're sitting here, we're looking at this. The Packers, they're 2-4. They haven't won a game since the Saints game, which, by the way, they also didn't show up in the first half of that game, and they barely came back against the Saints. This is a big problem. And if the Packers do not clean things up or at least show progress, then there's a lot more than just Jordan Love's job that needs to be considered because it's ugly. But again, this is a young, inexperienced team. And at the end of the year, if we have an answer on if Jordan Love is the guy or not, that's the most important thing. But at the same time, we need to look around Jordan Love and see who else is keeping their job. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. You know, always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at Tom Grossi Comedy. All social media is down below. A big shout out and thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.